I grew up in Walterboro, South Carolina, population 5,000, but I did not live in Walterboro, South Carolina. I live in the country, population probably about 200. I was the oldest of six, four brothers, one sister, and from the time I was 5 years old up until middle school, I was being sexually abused by both sides of my family. My uncles, cousins, I was being sexually abused. And because I was the oldest, because I was the who my mom relied on to help change diapers. I have a 9-year-old, and I tell him all the time, he gets all frustrated about having to do chores or sharing his cookies, and I was like, well, try splitting a honey bun 6 ways. Then you can tell me about, give me one of your duplexes, okay? So when growing up, it was this culture, in the South, children are supposed to be seen and not heard. In the South or whatever, as in a black family, where you go to church 8 times a week, that you're supposed to be seen, you're supposed to be heard. All these layers of genderism, women are supposed to stay in their place, and so all these things, growing up, those messages were on me. And so without anybody telling me that, I learned how to keep secrets. And so for about 10 years of my life, I was being sexually abused. And so I couldn't tell my mom, she was raising us. She was stressed out. She was telling me stuff, and I'm 8 and 9. I'm like, okay, why is she telling me this stuff? Okay, this is a lot for a child to filter. And so from an early age, I learned how to keep secrets. And for me, when I went to school, when I was going to school, and school wasn't a way for me to escape. I was successful at school, and nobody talked about me, nobody touched me, nobody did things to me that when I knew that I would visit family members and relatives, that things were going to be happening to me that I couldn't talk about because you don't talk, you don't speak up, you don't stand up for yourself. You're a girl. You sit down, you sit at the little table. So all these messages of suppression, of what's happening to you, of me as a child trying to filter what was happening to me. So school was my outlet. And I did finish my PhD last year, so which is that was a way for me to cope. And the other way for me to cope was food, was sex, was promiscuity, was clubbing. I was making straight A's. I was making A's, but I was doing some other stuff too. So that taught me as a child, my father wasn't in my life for a period of my life, so I thought that I wasn't valuable. I thought that I was unlovable. I thought that I was worthless. And guess what? I was with that same person over and over and over and over in my life, trying to get validation. Doing well on the outside, because I learned how to do that. I learned how to mask up. That's what my family taught me. You keep secrets. You don't let nobody know what's going on in this house. Let me find out you've been talking about stuff. So for me, education was a way out was a way for me to understand what was happening to me. That's why I went into psychology, social work, because I surely thought that somebody had dropped me with the wrong family. It's I don't belong to these people. Why am I here? I would switch that verb. I'm from another planet. Why are these things happening to me and I can't talk about it? So when I went to school, I could be myself. And so my life allows me to be a therapist, to be a counselor. I work for the Department of Family and Children's Services, DJJ. So I've had the awesome opportunity, because of what I've been through, because I've not allowed my pain to make me bitter, because I put myself in therapy, because I'm a therapist, so I believe in it. I'm gonna eat my own cake. So doing those things has allowed me to have a different type of sensitivity to sit with people's pain. Because when you've been through something, and the scripture tells us that, we overcome by the telling of our testimony. Absolutely. And so as a therapist, I'm able to sit with people and have the awesome privilege of them disclosing for the first time that they've been abused from 5, 55, 65. And as for me, it wasn't until I was in my 30s that I talked about it, that I actually started talking about it, because I was on a path that I did not like. And I had this moment, you know what, I really got to get myself together. I know I got to get myself together from the inside out. And so when I went into therapy and started talking about it, that was the first time in my 30s that I actually told my parents. And it wasn't about them. I didn't have an expectation that they were going to do anything. They were going to like be on Fox 5 or anything like that. But that was a part of my healing. That was a part of me owning my life, of owning my story. And sometimes we want to do that. We want the clean version of ourselves. But guess what? That takes away from our essence. Like we're a knitted quilt. That even the icky, ugly parts of who we are, we have to own all that, because that goes into the making of the goodness that comes out. But the scripture also tells us that all things work together for our good. We don't get to choose the good. We don't get to choose the all. But all of it is a tapestry. All of it is a part of us being able to show up in our lives in a way as our future is, our life is preparing us for our future, because we don't know who we're going to come into contact with. So, as a women's empowerment thing, that's the thing. I'm passionate about women getting healed from the inside out. I'm passionate about talking to parents, about talking to your kids over and over. You just don't have a one birds in the bee conversation. You talk to them when they're 5. And even in infancy, when you're changing their diaper, how are you handling them? All those things like matter, about how touch it is, how are you talking to them? All those things matter. You just don't have one conversation when you're 5. I remember the first conversation my grandmother, my mom's mom, had with me when I was 18, about to go to college. She said, keep your legs closed, keep your dress down, and keep your panties up. What? I do that. I go to dinner, I'm like, what are you talking about? So I say that to say, as parents, like if we've been through different things, we've struggled, we've been our children's age, and it's so important for us to get healed from the inside out, so that we can recognize when something is off with our son, with our daughter, because kids inherently want to protect us. I have a 9-year-old son, and we talk about a lot of stuff. I get pushback sometimes, like, oh, you talk to your son about his penis? Yes, I do, because I don't want anybody else talking to him about his penis. Right. Yes, I do. I talk to him about his penis. And so he's about to be 10 now, 10 next year, and we've been starting to talk about puberty. Mom, what's puberty? What's ejaculation? We have, as adults, we have to be comfortable with the correct medical term of our bodies, of what happens to our bodies. We have to empower ourselves, because if your kid comes to you and says, hey, like Sarah was masturbating in the classroom, and you're like, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? So you gotta be able to talk about things that make you uncomfortable, and a part of that is being healed from the inside out. And so it's really super important to continue to have conversations with your children. You're gonna continue to have conversations with them when they're 12, 13, 14. When they get married, you have to be comfortable with that. And if you are not healed from the inside out, you're gonna have some problems talking with them about those things, because kids need to be empowered. I worked for one of the first cases that I had as a defects case manager, a 12-year-old. Her father was grooming her. He was exposing her to pornography, and he was doing things to her. So it's so important. I just want to, that's the last thing I want to leave with, that it's so important for us as adults to get healed, because there's things that happen to us in our childhood that we try to mask with food, we try to mask with sex, we try to mask with drugs. Social media is so important, because our children, our communities are depending on us to get it together. To get it together in a way that we have open dialogue about our bodies, about gender, about race, about all those things, because it's really connected. And thank you so much. Stay here, because we heard today was your birthday. And I'm going to sing, since I have the mic. You want to sing? Oh, okay.
your raffle ticket on the floor, so guess what? It's my number. I'm sorry if y'all lost it. Wait, is it enough? We got 2 raffles. We have a free raffle. Everybody gets a free raffle ticket? No? Everybody gets a free raffle ticket? Look, you don't look. You only get 1 free raffle ticket. And we got another raffle ticket for $5. Do anybody want to participate in the $5 raffle?
What is it for?
Surprise is me.